Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello everyone and welcome to your English class. In our lesson today, we will take some exercises on the first unit, which is titled, Did You Hurt Yourself? All you need for the lesson today is your books on the first unit, a sheet of paper and a pen to take down your notes. So let's get started. What we have taken in this semester so far are 4 units. The first one is, Did you hurt yourself? The second one is, Take my advice. Number 3 was, You've got mail. And the last one, which is wishful thinking. Today we will take some exercises on the first unit, which is, Did you hurt yourself? So let's get started with this. How are we going to take these exercises? It's going to be to cover the objectives on your books, page 13, which is the self-reflection page. Okay. At the beginning, you will be able to talk about some accidents and accident preventions. Let's speak about the first one. If you want to refer to your books, page 4, we will speak about the first one, which are car accidents, falling and slipping. And we had taken much more on page 4. You can refer to them. How can we prevent? The idea of prevention is to stay away from these accidents. Speaking about car accidents, always follow the police instructions, always wear your seat belt, and never overspeed or speed over the limit, drive over the limit. Then how about falling, which is one of the most common? People usually fall, whether while they are skating, skateboarding, or when they are just walking. Always take good care while you are walking. If you want to skateboard, wear your helmet and your knee pads. Always make sure that you are taking all the precautions. And if we're having little kids, always put an eye on them. Okay, here we're having some verbs which are break, burn, cut, fracture. We're having as well as poke, sprain, and hurt. And we're having certain body parts, or some of them, like myself. My eye, my hand, my shoulder, my ankle, and myself. We can say that I have broken my hand. You could broke a hand. You also can broke your shoulder, or you break your ankle. Also, how about the idea of burning? Burning comes out of fire. I burned my hand while I was cooking. And you can say, I burned myself. How about cut? What can you cut? You could cut your hand and you could cut yourself. I cut myself. Fracture, which is similar to the idea of break. I fractured my hand, shoulder, ankle, and you can say, fractured myself. How about the idea of poking? Poking is very specific to the idea of eye. Poking an eye, whether with an eye or just like in your book, something would hit inside your eye. Poke an eye. Then sprain, the idea of spraining, you could sprain your ankle. You could sprain your ankle, which is twisting. How about hurt? You could hurt. I hurt my eyes. I hurt my hand. It could be the shoulder, the ankle, and it could be I hurt myself, because hurt is the general word. I injured and I hurt, not specific. Okay, these are some of the accidents. Let's speak about how to avoid these accidents. We spoke about these in the discussion, then in the listening lesson. At the beginning, speaking about spraining your ankle. How could you sprain your ankle while playing football, while running? How could you avoid that? Always be careful and wear your helmet and your knee pads, not to sprain your knee. How about cuts? How could you avoid cutting? Always be careful while you are chopping or cutting the food, and if you are using sharp utensils or equipment. How about breaking the nose? You could break it while you are playing football. The football could hit you, or you could hit the wall. How can you avoid it? Be careful and take good precautions. Then we're having the idea of fracture or break. And here, how can I avoid it? Always be careful, and maybe if you are in the car, just fasten your seat belt. And burning, never let the children to play with hot liquids to avoid scalds and hot surfaces to avoid burning. So you can come up with any of the ideas to avoid, to stay away from these accidents. We've talked about the cause and the effect. Maybe this one, what happened to her? She cut herself. She cut her hand. Why? Because she was using the wrong equipment. What is the wrong equipment? It is using the knife to open a can. There is a suitable device, which is the can or the tin opener, that you can use it. So never use the wrong equipment. Cause and the effect is the result, which is cutting herself. Then on page 6, we've spoken about the reflexive pronouns. We're having the pronouns, the subject pronoun he hurt himself, she hurt herself, it hurt itself, they hurt themselves, you yourself and yourselves, if they are more than one, we hurt ourselves, and I hurt myself. We are using them if we're having the subject as the object, like he saw himself in the mirror, just like this man. He likes to look at himself in the mirror. He see whom? Ali can see Ali. So he likes to look at himself in the mirror, and I did the homework myself. No one helped me. Who helped you? I helped me, so I did it myself. The subject is the object. Let's try to use them. Here we will use some reflexive pronoun. They are using here an umbrella. Why? They're using an umbrella to protect themselves with an umbrella. So they are protecting themselves in the umbrella. Notice the subject is the object. Next, we're having here a little puppy. We will refer to it with it. It hurt. Who hurt it? Maybe it was running, then it hurt itself. The subject is the object. No one hurt it. It hurt itself. Okay, how about the use of so and because? Cause and effect. Something happened as a result of the other. Let's look at this little girl. She played with the knife, so she cut herself. What happened first? Playing with the knife. As a result, so she cut herself. That's why we have used so. One thing, so we're having the result. And we can switch and change the order. I will say, she cut herself. Why? Because she played with the glass. Played, then we're having the cut. So 2 then 1, we will use because. Another example, I went to bed early because I was tired. Which one happened first? Being tired. Then we will have going to bed early. So why did you go to bed early? Because I felt tired. And I can change the order. I was tired. As a result, I went to bed early. Well, tired, then going to bed. So always imagine the situation, which one happened first and which one happened next. Then you can come up with whether so or because. I didn't want to wake up late. What did I do? I used 2 alarm clocks. So I used 2 alarm clocks. 2. Jerry called the emergency number. Why? Because there was an emergency. Emergency, so calling. I put my hand under cold running water. Why? Because I burned my hand. Burning, then water. More people turned up than I expected. I cooked more food. More people, then cooking more food. The mosquitoes didn't bite me. Why? Because I put on the repellent. I put the cream. That's why I'm not bitten by the mosquitoes, So here we will use because. Just imagine this is the two actions, which one happened first and which one happened second. Then we've spoken about the idea of using so and neither. So and neither, we use them to show agreement. I will tell you me too. You did something and I will tell you me too. I did it as well. It's not only you. You didn't do it and I didn't do it as well. So to show equality, agreement. We can use so and neither. They're having the same meaning, different grammatical use. We use so in an affirmative sentence. Affirmative, we don't have a negative meaning. No, never, no, not. The meaning is affirmative. And we use neither in a negative meaning. Negative, no. So I will tell here, I am a careful driver. I will tell you, me too. I am a careful driver too. So I can say, so am I. So I will use so in affirmative. Then I will change the order. So am I. Then negative. I have never had a cut. Never cut myself. You will tell me that you too. So we will say, neither have I. Negative, neither. So just change the order in here with the use of neither. Let's try to use this. I have never broken my arm. Have you or haven't you? I haven't had the same thing too. So we will say neither. Never, that's why I'm using neither. Then I will change the order. Have I? I had a long vacation last summer. Me too. I had a long vacation last summer as well. We will use here positive. So had I. So I have changed the order in here. We are going to watch TV tonight. We are going to watch TV too tonight. How can you show agreement? You will tell me so, we are, or you can say I am. Then I often hurt myself when I use sharp knives. Me too. I always hurt myself when I use sharp knives. So we will use here. We will use so, then so do I, because here this is the verb. We don't have any. It is in the present tense, the simple present tense. Do, hurt. Then we've spoken in the form, meaning, and function about the use of modal auxiliaries, must and should. All of these are modal auxiliaries to show that obligation, you have to do this thing, whether it is the law or it is optional or a kind of advice. You should be careful. Someone is driving fast and I will tell them you should be careful. And we can say that the stop sign says you must stop. This is not an option. You must stop. If you don't stop, so the police are going to give you a ticket. And you mustn't exceed the speed limit. Must not. If you drive over the speed limit, you're taking a ticket. So must as well as the other one, should, both of them will tell obligation, you have to do something. However, must, a higher obligation than the other one, which is should. Let's try to use here must. Using must or should. We pay attention to the road. Let's use must this time. We will use we. We must pay attention to the road. All the we're having here, you start with the verb. So must, just put the auxiliary with the infinitive form of the verb. So the imperative into an advice. Don't fall asleep at the wheel. Must. Don't. Negative. Drivers mustn't fall asleep at the wheel. How about ask the driving instructor for advice? Should. I will use I. I should ask the driving instructor for advice. How about should? Don't sit in the front seat. Children shouldn't sit in the front seat. The idea in here that after the modal auxiliary, whether should or any other should, must, or any other ones, you will use the base form of the verb. Here fall, we're having ask, as well as we're having sit. Okay, here let's look at this picture and try to use must or should, mustn't or shouldn't. He is using his phone while he's driving, not wearing the seat belt, and not looking into the road. He should wear his seat belt. He shouldn't forget to wear his seat belt. He mustn't use his cell phone. This is against the law. And he should watch the road. You should watch the road. You shouldn't put your eyes off the road. Okay. How about the adverb of manner? The idea of adverb of manner. Let's look at the man. What is he doing? The action. You will describe the action. He's driving. How can you describe the action of driving? Not the man. I will tell you the man. He's an old man. He's a young man. He's tall. He's short. I want you to describe the action. How is he driving? He's driving carelessly, fast, recklessly. So this recklessly or carelessly describing the driving, which is the action, rather than the person. So this is an adverb. Let's try to use them in here. We're having a mom and Bob talking to each other. Each one between two brackets, these are the adjectives. You will come up with the adverbs from these adjectives. The mom asks, so did you have a good lesson? Bob says, yeah. I spent an hour driving. Of course, I didn't go fast. What is the adverb of fast? It is fast. Fast and hard will be the same. I listened careful to the instructor. How did you listen? I listened carefully, adding ly. He explained everything. He explained how clearly, how to control the car. Then I drove it. How did you drive it? I drove it safely back to the school. What must you do now? Now I must trying how? Try hard to learn the rules of the road. Then I am sure I will pass the test in an easy way, easily. I will pass it easily. So all of these are adverbs. Some of them are regular, ly, others like fast and hard. Here we will have the irregular ones. We will use the same adjective as the adverb. Then we've spoken about the use of the prepositions of place. Yet at the beginning you have to study the map so you will know where each store is. Like where is the hospital, the shoe store, the movie theater, the museum, and the others. The bank is the post office. Let's look at them. These two, they are in here and we're having a street in the middle. So we will say it is across from. They are facing each other and we're having a street in the middle. Across from. Then the pharmacy is the post office and the movie theater. What is it? The pharmacy is somewhere in here, which is the drugstore. Then the movie theater and the other one is the post office. It is somewhere in the middle. So we can say it is between, in the middle, right and left. The hospital is 2nd Street. It is on. If you want to speak about streets, you will use on. Then the police station is the bank. Where is the police station and the bank? Side by side. So it is next to the bank. The train station is the restaurant. This is the train station and this is the restaurant. It is actually near. Near, you can walk. It is a walking distance. You can walk from here to there. However, we can say that the shoe store to the train station, maybe I need a bus or need a car into there. It is a long walking distance. I would say it's far away from. Then we've spoken about the idea of using imperatives for direction. What is imperative? Imperative, when I tell you, do this and don't do that. Imperative is to give instructions and directions. Here we're having the first one. Here, you must not park, so don't park. Then stop, it will be stop. Then turn right, and the last one, do not enter. Usually the red ones are the negative instructions. And you can notice that we will use the verb itself, stop, park, turn, and we're having also enter, and you add don't if it is you don't want someone to do an action. Don't get inside. Don't sit down. Don't hurry. Okay. We're speaking about the use of the prepositions of place, the in, on, and at. We're having in, on, and at as a preposition of place. Where is this place or that place? The in, we use it if we're speaking about a country, in Riyadh, in Jeddah. On, if we're speaking about in, if we're speaking about a city or a country or a neighborhood. So I live in Saudi Arabia, I live in Riyadh, and the neighborhood in Al Aliyah district. How about on? We will go narrower, more specific, speaking about a street, on 2nd Street, on this or that, and avenue, which is similar to road or a street. How about at? Now we're having very limited area, which is exact an address or exact location. At the cafe, at this very specific address. Speaking about Al Faisaliyah in here, so Al Faisaliyah Tower is Saudi Arabia. In, on, or at, we can say it is in Saudi Arabia. Riyadh, a city in Riyadh. The tower is King Fahad Road, streets and avenues, is on King Fahad Road, and the skyscraper is 12212 King Fahad Road. Exact location, so I will use at, a very specific area. Then in the reading lesson, we've spoken about the idea of certain words. You can read from A to the end to match them with the other words. Someone who's bald, we're having someone who's bald, someone who had no hair. So we can match it with D, having no hair in his head. Then the following, to challenge. Someone is challenging another. To challenge, people are challenging. It is E, to contest or to fight against two teams playing against each other. Then to weave through. The ostrich was weaving through. Weaving through is the idea of moving through something by turning and avoiding, going right, left, trying to avoid each car. Hurl. Here, the picture can show you someone who's hurling. B, which is to throw something, not throwing it, to throw it with great force, just like an explosion. Burst, bursting, here, which is A, to explode, explosion, it burst. That's why we're saying burst into tears, explosion of tears. Then, to recover, someone recovered, as C, to get better. He was sick, then he recovered. He became better and felt better. You can revisit the reading lesson for the words and their meanings. Now let's read this story and try to come up to fill up with these words. A 33-year-old woman was seriously, injured when her gas oven exploded and flame. What happened? And it burst into flame. Bursting, exploded with flame. The blew the wall off an apartment building. The explosion blew the wall off the apartment building. And we're having as well as damaged a number of homes. The family living next door described the moment following what happened. What do we call it? The blast, the explosion, which happened in the early hours of Sunday morning. Had the blast gone the other way, my two kids would have been killed, said the mother. My older son was almost by a flying brick, was struck, hit by it. Luckily, he was quick to cover his head with a pillow and avoided it with the pillow. The following story, Ferrari Formula One driver Philip Mass, 28 years old. He survived a freaking accident after fracturing his head, in two places. Massa was struck by a heavy spring just over his left eye while was traveling 270 km per hour. He fell into coma and was in critical condition for some time. No one thought that he was going to survive, but he managed to recover and return to the driving a year later. So he survived, had an accident, and recovered and became better. The last story, a little boy of 4 was hit by a car can swerve to avoid another pedestrian who was crossing the road. So, avoiding, swerving. The boy was seen picking himself up and running off unhurt as the car smashed into a shop window nearby. So in here, the idea of swerving, going right and left to avoid having an accident. Okay, I guess that is it for the lesson today, and thank you so much for your time.